Hello, good morning. My name is Juliana, and I'm gonna be here today on our Sunday public meeting on Facebook and YouTube Live. Today I'm gonna talk about freedom. We gonna take gonna talk about the law of liberty mainly. That is in the Spirit's book. So I welcome everyone today in this nice sunny but chilly day. And I think today we can say that's the first cold of the next season. You know, although we're in autumn, it's today feels like winter, but it's sunny. So to start, let's gonna do our initial prayer. If you want to sit comfortably, close your eyes, take a deep breath, connect to the spiritual world, to your mentors. Let's gonna ask for this blessing. Thank God, Jesus, for this beautiful day. Let's gonna ask for a blessing for the week. Let's gonna thank for everything that has been in our life. And today, Lord and Jesus, today I'd like to send a special prayer for all those victims of conflicts that we've seen and have been. May God be with them. That's gonna say a prayer for peace. May we be able to find peace. So be it. Okay, so freedom. Let's gonna talk about. Just gonna see my cursor here. Yes. So just a definition. The Oxford languages say there's two meanings for freedom: the power right to act, speak, or think as one wants, and the state of not being imprisoned or enslaved. Today we're going to talk about the first part, the first meaning, the power right to act, speak, or think as we want. So I'll start with this Bible passage. Be careful, however, that the exercise of your rights does not become a stumbling block to the weak. So, and this is talk much about we talk about the law of liberty, So we we need to be careful, you know. And we're gonna explain why we have to, exercise our right in a way that it doesn't become stumbling block to the weak. Now, that's gonna go law of liberty. So, in this part of the Spirit's book, Allan Kardec, as as in a scientific method, he asks questions to the spirituality. So I'm going to start with this one. Are there any positions in the world where an individual enjoys absolute freedom? No, that's right. No, because all of you need one another, from the most powerful to the most impoverished. We all need each other. That's it's actually one, it's we when you go in the society, the law of society, we see this. We are social beings. So absolute freedom, it's not something for Earth, not sure for other planets, but not for Earth. And we concentrate here. So, but he keeps asking, as This is not just because he has an inquisitive mind. This is a scientific method of asking the questions and questions, to get a bigger picture and information. So he keeps asking, what would be the condition in which a person could enjoy absolute freedom? I know you said no, we don't in on Earth, but there is any way, any place that we can go. And then they said, as a hermit in a desert. As soon as two people find each other, they have reciprocal rights and duties to respect, and they're no longer absolutely free. So, our freedom is to act, think, react, and write wherever I want. It's only applying when I'm alone between myself. No, it's only me, myself. But he keeps asking, does the duty to respect the rights of others deprive individuals of the right to be themselves? So that's what we're saying. Everyone thinking that speech or freedom of speech, it's speaking wherever I want to. And then we saw that we have duties as well. So does the duty of respect, duty to respect the rights of others, because that's what we have to do, deprive individuals of the rights of being themselves? No, not at all, because there's a human holds that right by nature. By nature, we, we have the right to be ourselves. You know, we have free will, we have freedom, we have free will. That doesn't come without responsibilities. So that, you know, as a wise man called Uncle Ben said, with great powers come great responsibilities. Just joking, but yes, it is true, you know, and it doesn't need to come with great powers, With your right, with freedom comes as well responsibility, but that doesn't mean you cannot be yourself. You still can be yourself, because this is a human right. That's right by nature. This is a right we've been given. Everyone have been given. But if I exercise my freedom, that it's gonna harm in any way. I'm not talking about hating, with words as well, because we see so much hatred here. I mean, you know, it's gonna harm someone else, you know, then I have to stop and think, because there are consequences for that. There are consequences when I harm the next, and we have consequences. That's why we have laws and human laws. We have our justice system and things, and above all this, there is as well the nature laws, which sometimes we call God's law. So there is consequence because again, we are social beings that we live among each other. So I would be able to do that if I was by myself, no one around me. But that's not what we came here to do. Anyway, so Alan Kardec keeps asking, is there anything in human being that escape all limitations and which they enjoy absolute freedom? You see, he keeps asking, it looks like the same question, but it's just asking different ways so he can get more information. He's not trying to say if the spiritual is lying. He had another way to check, double check all the thoughts. So they enjoy in their answer, if we have, I don't know, human beings that escape all limitations, there is anything that we can enjoy absolute freedom. There is, and the answer, they enjoy unbounded freedom in their thoughts. So in our thoughts, it's unbounded freedom, as there is no obstacle to thought, while it may be hindered, though cannot be extinguished. So in our thoughts, we can be, we can think as much as we want to think everything, you know. There is no, for example, in a human system, there is no law for judging what you think. The law is for judging your act, your actions. And I'm talking about in the earth, in the human justice system. Anywhere in the country, there's no way they can, because thought is just between me and myself and God. You're gonna see, because on next question, Allan Kardec asks the spirituality: Are human beings responsible for their thoughts? So they are accountable for them before God. God alone can know our thoughts and condemns or absolves them according to justice. Now, I know this looks like trying to get you by fear, but let me see. Let me just get this a little bit more explained. So our thoughts are accountable before God. God knows our thoughts. Um, so, and then it's not about condemning or absolving. It's because I'm just gonna get this one. I'm in moments of frustration, really frustrated. I'm gonna kill this person because I'm very frustrated. Okay, so this is just a thought. I didn't even say it. So this is like, okay. And then I keep getting frustrated with this person. And I keep saying the same over and over and over again. What's going to happen as a spiritist? We know our thoughts are the most powerful things we have. And we're going to connect with that kind of thoughts, with that kind of vibration, you know? Eventually, if I keep, feeding that thought, this could lead me into actioning a death. I'm just saying very straightforward uh, things. And even me saying out loud in a social media, I'm gonna kill this person, something like this. So even that, because even our words has power. And nowadays we know even the justice system has laws for this. Your hatred speech can be accountable for, you can deem accountable in front of the justice system. So our words does matter and can lead to condemnation. So as the same thing, eventually, if of course, if I did commit the act, this is part of the free will, you know still, yes, I have the whole human system there and God's law as well. But when my thought become that dangerous that I can actually do this, you know, even if in the criminal justice we know that there is the passion, a murder that's not planned, it happened, or something. So even that, even that, they, they, our our thoughts, can be dangerous. So that we are accountable when we have the thoughts and we keep feeding them bad thoughts, not evil thoughts, or yeah, not kind of thoughts. So we can be accountable for that because it can lead to an action, you know. And even though we are being influenced as well, because when we keep saying this, we start connecting to this kind of thoughts, to this kind of vibration. If we end up acting as our free will, as we have a free will, so we still, or even we didn't, we still being accountable in our thoughts for that, because it became so dangerous, so dangerous that I can, and at any moment, go and do that. So I'm not talking about here legitimately or facts, just a very straightforward example. We knew in spirituality, in the spiritual world, you know Although we don't see it, it's very just. The law of nature, God's law, it's very just. It's not. It doesn't give room for gray areas. For doubt. It's very very straightforward. So just giving straightforward example. So we are free. We can think wherever we want, but we still need to be cautious because we're gonna held accountable. And again, the responsibility we have towards the beside the next to me, the one beside me. So wrapping up this freedom, man is free to think, want, and act, but his freedom is limited by his own condition of being. As I say in the beginning, we are by nature social beings. We are here on earth to socialize, and I'm not talking about going out at night, but to live between people and people we don't like, people we not gonna be, people we like, we're gonna love, people we hate. So we are social being, and we have this condition, and but we have our condition as well for being ourselves. It's our natural right. It's our birthright, just as like free will, you know. But that doesn't account. We have to be account responsible because imagine if anyone could do wherever they want without uh, responsibility, without being accountable. So that's what we see. A lot of people get killing and wars, greed people, taking advantage, of the political scenarios and things like this. So it does happen because our system it's not as just as the natural laws and God's law, so it does still happen. And and a lot of evil we see on the world is like people not realizing that they're gonna be held accountable. You know, that's the thing. They think that's only the human system, just the system that has, there's your binders you can bind, you can go around, we find a workaround or thing like this. But against God and the natural laws, we're gonna be held accountable. So back to law of liberty. And Allan Kardec, as in a scientific method, he keeps asking questions and questions to get as much information as possible. So, do human beings have free will in their actions? Since they have freedom of thought, which we talk about, they also have freedom of action. Without free will, they would be nothing more than machines. And today we have a very good example of this: AI. You know, the artificial intelligence is a machine, um, but they don't have free will. They only act influenced by the information they found. They don't have decisions of their own like we do. We are influenced, just like AI, we are influenced. We are influenced by our environment, we're influenced by our thoughts, we are influenced by um, how we have been raised, places, and things. We are all influenced. But the action, is our free will. It's our decision because in all influences we have been, we still have, you know, in nature, in principle, our right to be ourselves. And our act is solely responsible. We are only solely responsible. We cannot blame anyone else. Everything we do, we are responsible. I'm talking about free will, you know. Now, this is really good to know And I think, oh, I'm in prison now. I don't can do anything. No, this is for you to know where we can go and where you should not go because you can go that way. I know, although you shouldn't because the consequence is going to be much worse than you go this way. You know, as usual, we in Spiritism we don't like to condemn, to judge. You know, there is always our path to moral development, and when we talk about moral development, we talk about being less selfish. You know, acting much more in, um, on behalf of others than ourselves, but not loving ourselves less. You know, like Jesus said, love one another as yourself. We need to love ourselves as well before we can love another. You know, a lot of people get that very wrong. We many times we do get that very wrong. So, so this is more or less what this. So we have freedom of thought. We have absolute freedom of thought, although there can be held accountable against God. We also have our free will. But our free will, which is the action, free will, it's more related to the action, you know, what we do. It's accountable both by God laws and our system, our justice system. As faulty as it is, you know, because we're not perfect being, don't think the system, justice system, or things are gonna be always fair and just. You know, we try to, at least I hope, but it's not completely fair, unfortunately. But you might get there. So, um, just gonna wrap up, you know, about freedom and free will. Freedom and free will have fundamental correlation in the human being, increases according to the moral development and knowledge. If, on one hand, we have a freedom to think, speak, and act, on the other hand, we have free will. Free will gives us the responsibility for our own acts because they were practiced freely with our own will. You know, um, one of the I'm just trying to think one good example, but I'm just gonna uh, debug this one more. So, freedom and free will. Free will is the act. Once we act, we are held accountable. And as I said before, if we have been influenced and we act upon, it's still our fault. It's gonna be also fault of others as well, but primarily it's our fault. If I did something that harm other people or myself, I'm gonna held accountable for it because that's my free will. That's what it's like but you know, the when the practice thing, you know, your thoughts, your freedom. So if I decide to say in a social media, oh, I hate this person, or I hate this kind of people, or I hate this. See, I had the thought that I hate them for many reasons that influenced that, but I acted. I wrote on my personal social media account that I hate someone. I hate some people. I hate. So I'm totally accountable. It's still free will. I haven't killed anyone, but it's still. So whatever I think this phenomenon of social media, you know, it's not bringing the worst of people. The worst has been always there. We just feel, we have that feeling that we're still in thoughts. We're still not held accountable because it's still in thoughts, you know. It's just me writing there, but I don't have the the notion that I put public and I let you know. It's just like saying out loud with a megaphone to everyone, I hate this, you know? So I'm still being held. It's your free will, no matter how influenced you're being, and today the influence it's getting even worse and worse, like fake news. It's what I see. It's being always, like news media or always has those way to deliver the news to you in a form that you form opinion as you read. You know, we have not been educated to actually stop and think, wait, what does this media channel wants me to think that this is the way it happens, it really happens? Why stopped thinking why this is being feed to me in my social media? We stop doing this, and that's what we have to start doing, you know, so we can be much more wise when we share, when you post, and when you do things in social media. Just like I know social media is very easy. You just go to boom. You don't see, there's no people in front of you for you to talk about your hate, because when there's people in front of you, don't talk how hate things and this is that. So social media let your thoughts free, but it's an action you did because you put public, you wrote a message. So this is an action, this is your free will, and this is gonna be held accountable. So I like this thing because exactly it teaches us, you know, freedom of speech is not saying whatever you want to say to whatever you think this is right. Freedom of speech is saying in a way that you're not going to hurt the other. You can find other ways to saying, you know, that you don't agree. You can agree to disagree, you know, with a certain thought, with a certain way, but saying I hate or you are useless or things like that. This is just like, your free will, your thoughts acting as your free will because you act upon this. And it's going to hurt others. And if you don't think, we are on a time that we need to really act and think, is this hurting someone? Why this is hurting? You know? So we are accountable for everything we do and we think, because our thoughts can be dangerous as well. Now, freedom and responsibility. Now, let's gonna go. So, duty is a moral obligation, firstly to ourselves and then to others. So, remember, ourselves first. We don't judge whatever the others are doing. We judge first us. Am I doing this right? You know, before judging or before wanting the other to do his duty, his responsibility. Am I being responsible? So that's what we do first, ourselves. Duty is a law of life encountered in the smallest details as well in the most elevated acts. You know, it's everywhere. We are not uh, we are not free from duty. We have freedom, but free from duty, no. Duty of the heart, when faithfully observes, elevates man. But how can we define it with exactitude? This is the gray area, because what it's what I think it's okay for me, it might not be okay for the other. You know? And then where do you draw? So where does duty begin? Where does duty end? So duty begins exactly at the point where the happiness or tranquility of our neighbor is threatened. You see? And therefore, terminate we would not wish to be past in relation to ourselves. So that's the thing. It's a gray area. It's not much a gray area. It's like we have to be much more aware than we have been before, you know? And sometimes I say something, I do something that I realize later that it harmed someone else. So we should not be afraid to say, I'm sorry, this was not right. I should haven't act like this. We should not be afraid to apologize. Just say sorry and to see that we actually act in harmful way. You know, um, we we need to be humble to do this. It's not because what I think is right for everyone. The the world is already diverse and it's been more and more diverse. We have to embrace this diversity and we have to always try and get this much more. We have to try and thanks, Samantha. Very nice. um, we have to try and act much more in a way, in a humble way, to say, realize that we are all not perfect beings. We are here to learn. It's gonna take as many incarnations and reincarnations as we have to take, because we are giving all the chances. As bad we have been, we're gonna be giving the chances. So we have to think this in this way. We come here to elevate ourselves, So that's why, they say duty of the heart. We have to faithfully observe, so we can elevate as a person, as the spiritual being we are, you know. It's always building a better version of ourselves. That's what I like to think about, our reincarnations. It's always trying, and this is the success. We have to keep trying, even if we're gonna fail many times, you know, but we go back and try again, well, because the chances will be given. We cannot, there's two things we don't do. We don't go back and we cannot be stuck in one place. We always evolving. Evolution comes for everyone, in nature, in spirituality, in us as a spiritual being, as human being, we are evolving. Our DNA are changing. It's evolution comes. That's something we cannot. For a while we can be stuck a little bit, but we cannot stop evolution. And when we realize that we are free, but we also have responsibility, it gives us an easier, it helps us on our path to try and not take the wrong path, to go on the right path. And always, and it's a very good tool to observe, to know ourselves, because a lot of things we do is because we don't stop and realize, what we have been doing. We don't know. We try to hide the evil we have inside. We all have evils, and I do this, everyone trying to hide as much as possible. We have to know that's this evil. When we know that, for example, I tend to post a lot of hatred. When I know that I do this, and I know now that this it's not okay. And next time I'm gonna think again. That doesn't mean I'm gonna stop completely. I might, in a in a I don't know fury moment do again. But that's the thing, to be humble enough to realize, oh my God, no, I did it again. It's the success is measured not by the results, but the times you tried. It's not by how many times you fail, but how many times you tried and you keep trying. So it's always that thing, keep swimming, and we gonna eventually evolve and get better. So I'd like to um, end with this one from Chico Xavier. It's action reaction. We are free to decide our actions, although we become slaves of their consequences. That's the thing, you know. We have freedom, we have free will, and we have responsibility. And depending on what we choose, we're gonna be those actions. So that's it. So the bibliography, I talk about the whole Bible, 1 Corinthians 9. This is Herculano Spiritus. It's one of the quotes the definition of freedom. I took the Spirit's book, chapter 9, Law of Liberty, and also the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 7, 19:7. Oh, I think it's chapter 17. Anyway, yeah, I think I do. I should have the book. It's chapter 17, item 7. And Dictionary of the Soul by Chico Xavier. And so just gonna have a little bit our activities now. Our until the end of this year, our Sunday public meetings, it's in person where we have the passe, the healing, and on Facebook. So it's every fortnightly for both of them. So today it was a Facebook Live. So next Sunday it's gonna be in person, and it's gonna be a passe and in person meeting. Always from 11:15, but when we are there in the in person, we take longer because of the passe, and we have always a coffee after. And the next Sunday, which will be 22nd, it's in person. The following, it's Facebook Live. Our Tuesday and Thursdays are the talk show at 7:15, and we have our study group via Zoom meeting every Wednesday. So you can find us email spiritismarland@gmail.com, the Facebook page, and the YouTube channel. So thank you for coming, and I will end up finalize here with our final prayer. So if you'd like to sit comfortably, take a deep breath, connect with the spiritual world. Take a moment to think, to realize how we're gonna be a better version of ourselves. What actions can we refrain to, and what actions can we start doing in order to practice this freedom with responsibility? Make sure our free will, it's gonna be for the right. It will be the right action, the correct actions, not the wrong actions. I'd like to thank God, Jesus, and the spirituality for being here today. And I hope everyone have a good week ahead. Thank you very much and have a lovely week. Bye bye.